Alright, hey guys, how's it going? There's a new Destiny trailer for some exotic gear and just to look at weapon crafting a bit, so I wanted to go over it because there's a lot of stuff going on in that minute of the trailer. So I'll play through it once and then we'll go through everything bit by bit.
What is the relic on Mars? The power to create your own weapons.
Alright, so as you can see, there's a ton of stuff going on, whole lot of action. So just starting from the beginning here, we now know that Relic is going to be on Mars. Not sure yet if Mars is going to be a whole playable space. We know we have a mission on it, but we don't know if it's going to be like an open world area or it's just going to be a story mission and then a selectable node just for the weapon crafting. We don't know that yet, but Savathun says it's on Mars. She's also telling us about weapon crafting, so I don't see why she would be doing that exactly unless she is trying to help us somewhat, because it doesn't make sense for her to be completely against us because she's no longer with the darkness. So it doesn't make sense to ostracize herself from the darkness and now be screwing around with us and trying to take us out. It's too many enemies for her and she's too smart to do something like that. So I don't think we're going to be killing her in the story or in the raid. I think she's going to be an ally. I know a lot of people don't like that, but I think she's too good of a character to kill off. So I hope we're allies with her. Not friends necessarily, but just allies out of necessity, because there's a bigger threat with the darkness.
The relic on Mars. The power to create your own.
Also, the weapon crafting, all these molds, it looks so cool. I really like this design of all these looks like different parts and stuff to make your weapons. It's really, really cool. And here, I don't know if I'm going too far into it and I don't know if this is confirming anything, but it looks like from here that you're able to pick each piece, and I'm wondering not if you can pick them, because this clearly shows you can pick your barrel, your magazine, both perks, the masterwork. I'm wondering if they're going to be changeable on the same weapon, so you don't have to have multiple in your vault. So you don't need a PvE roll and a PvP roll of Fatebringer. You can have all of those things selectable. Or at least maybe have you can select the 2 barrels, 2 magazines, and then each perk row you can have 2, just so then you can have a gun fill both PvE and PvP, just to fix vault bloat, because it's a really big issue at the moment, especially for me, because I'm pretty sentimental, so I don't like to delete guns that like aren't good anymore. I have a lot of sunset weapons that I just keep because I'm like, oh, this is my first midnight coup that I have thousands and thousands of kills on, and here's my original recluse. So yeah, it'd be nice to be able to delete a bunch of guns I have because I'm like, oh, I need a PvE roll and such. So we've got this first exotic Grand Overture. I'm a bit confused with it because it says it's a slug launcher and charges full auto missiles, and here it looks like a pretty slow firing cannon, but then here it's a full auto light machine gun, but it's shooting like little missiles here. So I'm wondering if it's going to be different firing modes, like a hold R or hold reload, or it's on kill activation or something. We'll have to see. And it does have Cabal markings on it. So there's more evidence, along with the armors we'll look at in a second, that this season's going to be Cabal based. So probably around the Scions that tried to kill Zavala. And then we'll be doing that with Keitel probably. Maybe that will take place on Mars as well. Here we have Parasite. It's a cool looking rocket launcher. I really like it. And we don't know too much about it besides that it shoots the worm, the Yeetus, the fetus gun. And the only perk description is it deals increasing damage. So it's hard to tell from this if it's going to be like an ad clear weapon, because I mean, he shoots at a group of ads, but they usually do pretty funky things with exotics. But the increasing damage makes me think it'll be good for boss damage, perhaps, if it's going to be like an exponentially growing thing, like how Outbreak was when you had 6 people back when auto reloading was a thing. How having 6 just the damage is insane. So I'm hoping it's a cool and unique weapon, because we haven't been using the heavy grenade launchers a whole lot. They've kind of fallen off since spike grenades was a thing, back with like Swarm of the Raven and Outrageous Fortune. I think that was back when auto reloading was a thing too. Here we have that Osteostriga, the Recluse 2.0. Really fantastic looking gun. Really like Thorn inspired. Looks great. Again, the perk description is a little how would you say? Vague? Probably the best word. So it says swarming projectiles trigger a toxic burst. Don't really know how, like, so I just shoot and every now and then it does a burst. The swarming projectiles are interesting because we can look at it. I'll slow it down. The bullets are like tracking a little bit. Turn it down. See, the bullets, he's not really aiming at all, and the bullets are tracking. So I'm wondering if like going for headshots is going to be a little bit weird. If it'll track to the head, or it'll tend to the body, and how exactly it's going to work. But it looks cool. I like the poison spreading. I wonder if it'll work with necrotic grips like Thorn. It'd be a really cool interaction. And here we have that Titan armor that I was talking about. The Cabal inspired, because you have those tusks, just like Kydal has. And you got these big, bulky shoulder pads. Clearly Cabal inspired. And then you have the Titan Glaive. I'm a bit disappointed because it looks like these are the exotic glaives for each class. I'm a bit disappointed that they all look identical. It looks like it looks like they're just holding the same glaive. And since the trailer said like new exotics and then they're thrown in here, I think it's pretty much confirmed that they are. I was hoping this was just going to be like each class has different abilities on the glaives, and then there's also the exotics. But it looks like this exotic is just the same one, but has different like abilities for each class. So we have Titan has it says protective shield, not ward of dawn. So I'm wondering if it's just the bubble, and you won't get the weapons of light and armor of light buffs. And it's just going to be a bubble just to protect yourself. And then warlocks get a healing turret. So it sounds like to me this is just going to be like a Lumina Rift. Not Lumina Rift, Lunafaction Rift. So it sounds like it's just going to be a Lunafaction Rift, but like a mobile, deployable one. Which is cool, because Lumina is a great exotic, I think, and being able to not have to be the point of the healing, because you have to be standing in that rift, but being able to like maybe shoot it across the map to help your team out is really interesting. Here we get a look at the Hunter Cabal themed armor. It seems like a pretty Scion Flare inspired cloak, which is cool. And again, they have tusks. I think those are on the hood. So the tusks are on the hood, and then the helmet looks like a Cyclops helmet with the one eye, like Scion's. It's a really cool looking set, I think. I like the armor style a lot more than what we had in Season of the Chosen, with kind of that Eastern inspired armor. And then here's of course the Hunter Glaive, which is tracking chain lightning. I'm gonna assume hunters have that as an arc melee ability. I don't play Hunter much at all, but I'm hoping that does good damage, because it seems like it's a bit weird that Titans get this big portable bubble, Warlock's got a healing turret, and then Hunter just gets like a chain lightning thing. So I hope it's valuable. Here we get a good look at a bunch of new exotic armor pieces. We have this Titan chest piece, which is pretty cool looking. I like the design of this piece. We have some Warlock Gloves, which are really cool. I like that kind of spike that comes out from the forearm, and then that armor plating on the fingers is super sick. And they even have like a ring on the thumb. And then they're also holding what looks like to be a new Iron Banner hand cannon. One of the break action, where you break the top and then drop in the new cylinder. Looks really cool, and it has like the same markings as like Peace Bond. We got this really cool Hunter exotic. Looks sick. And then they're also holding what looks to be Velakadin, which was a great weapon in Year 1. So I'm really glad they're bringing it back, because it felt great to use and looks sick. And it has those Vice reloads, which are just great. I don't know if Titan is holding anything new. Just a glaive. So that Titan chest is called Hoarfrost-Z chest, and instead of dropping a barricade, it's going to be a stasis wall, which is cool. And then Warlocks get this Osteomancy Gloves, additional cold snaps with enhanced seeking. I'm wondering if the enhanced seeking is just going to be identical to what hunters have with their aspect that buffs all the grenades. You know, the one that adds a little glacier to the middle of the dusk field and makes their glacier like a cage almost. And then their cold snaps are really quick, and I think continue tracking, or they like split off after they freeze someone. But I don't see this being good in PvE. In PvP, it could probably be pretty decent, but in PvE, I don't see it being used as just throwing cold snaps. I see it being used more just as having 2 charges of your grenade for a Bleak Watcher turret, which kind of seems a bit of a waste. It's kind of how nothing manacles are just being used to have a second charge of handheld supernova. It feels a bit lazy. Not lazy, but I feel like it's a bit uninspired how the player base generally just uses them. And I think that's more of a PvP thing, because I think in PvE you wouldn't even want just 2 charges of Bleak Watcher. I think you'd rather do Verity's Brow or I Have Another World. I feel like you just rather use exotics that get your grenade up quicker than just having 2 grenades and then you have to deal with the normal recharge time. I feel like for PvE, unless these cold snaps are even more enhanced than the hunters with their aspect, I feel like they're not going to be used that much over other exotics that just give you your grenade back quicker. And then also just even with the hunter or the Titan exotic, I know when Beyond Light came out, everyone was like, oh, where's all the stasis exotics? And I always kind of thought the point of the new subclass for stasis with aspects and fragments was so they didn't have to have stasis exotics, because it's always just been a bit weird to me having exotics that kind of make the subclass. Like this Hoarfrost-Z could very easily be an aspect, and same with the Warlock exotic. Just I think it's a bit clunky to have like an exotic like Curse of Falling Star buff your Thunder Crash, and I feel like Thunder Crash should just be that strong, and then the Curse could do something else. Same with like Celestial Nighthawk. There's a lot of exotics where I feel like it should almost just be part of the subclass. And the exotics a lot of the times feel like a band-aid to fix subclasses that are weak, but then you're forced into using it, like with Curse of Falling Star, because the super doesn't do much damage on its own. And instead of buffing it, they just gave it an exotic that makes it really powerful, but now you're forced to use that exotic. So yeah, I don't even know what the whole point of it was. I don't like exotics that feel like a must-use to make a subclass decent. And not to say these exotics are doing anything, but it's interesting to see that these aren't aspects and fragments. These are straight up exotics. So it is cool that then you can use these now with other aspects that would be replaced, by having to use it. So that's interesting. going back to the Hunter's exotic, Blight Ranger helmet was the name of that cool looking one. And I hope this ends up being better than how it just looks here. Because all it is it just reflects projectiles and they deal increased damage. And then they show a whole cool, like, oh my god, I deflected a Titan hammer and I killed 3 people. Which isn't gonna happen, you know, in PvP. Because those 2 are just frozen, just standing there. I know Middle Tree Arc is in a kind of bad spot. I don't think people use it at all. I don't ever hear about it being used. I don't see it being used. And I don't think this exotic will make it be used like Curse of Falling Star makes Middle Tree Titan used. I don't see the value in reflected projectiles dealing a ton of damage unless it's literally a ton of damage. Unless this is like boss viable, DPS viable, you know, if you're reflecting. Atheon doesn't even shoot at you. A lot of the bosses don't even deal damage to you during DPS. Yeah, I don't know what this would be used for then. Maybe something like a Grandmaster or something, if you have a bunch of champions shooting at you, if reflecting like can burst them down, maybe. But again, it feels like a band-aid for an exotic or for a subclass, and I don't think it's a particularly effective band-aid. It feels like a super niche thing, and I feel like it's the same thing with Dawn Course, where like the burn lasts longer and the burn deals more damage. And it does do a lot. Like if you have a bunch of bottom tree warlocks all with Dawn Course, it does do a lot of damage, but again, like that's 6 people running the same subclass, using the same exotic to make it somewhat viable. And I think it's just a bit of a shame. Just to go on that point again a bit, it's just a bit of a shame to have, I don't know, there's such a power disparity between some exotics, and it's like, would you rather your deflected projectiles deal more damage with your arc super, or would you rather, you know, have 2 dodges, or have your super deal 10 times more damage, you know, with a Curse of Falling Star versus, I don't know a lot of other classic exotics, but just to do a Warlock really quick, I don't even know the one exotic. It's the exotic that just gives you grenade and melee back when you super. You get they fully recharge, and it's like, well, would I rather have that, or would I rather just throw on Eye of Another World and I get all my abilities back quicker? Or Verity's Brow, my grenade does double damage and it recharges like twice as fast. There's a big power disparity between a lot of the exotics. And I think it's something that should be worked on, because a lot of those pieces look really cool, and I feel like a lot of them could be condensed. I feel like some exotics, you could just put both exotic perks together. They still wouldn't be too strong, and then you just use... I don't know. It's a big thing for me, but... yeah. I'm hoping that Hunter Helmet Exotic is good, because I want all exotics to be good, and it looks super sick too. So it would suck to have a super sick exotic that is super niche and not that great. Anyways. So here we can see what I think is at least 2 more exotics. I don't think the Warlock... Or yeah, okay. So the Warlock looks like he's wearing the exotic gloves from the previous clip. The stasis cold snap exotics. But the Titan here is wearing what seems to be a totally new exotic. I don't think that's an ornament. It looks pretty unique. And then the Hunter has these really cool looking gloves, which I don't think are an ornament either. And then the Warlock just got screwed out of it, I guess. They don't get to show off a new piece. Don't know anything about these exotics besides that they look sick. I like that pattern on the Hunter gloves, and I like that like fiery face on the Hunter helmet, or Titan helmet. And that's about the end of the trailer. We just have the cool jumping shot, Savathun throwing a Nova bomb. Good to see again. There's one of the worms being thrown. Osteostriga's got those tracking projectiles. Yeah, there's a lot to look forward to. It's always hard to tell how these exotics are going to be without getting our hands on them. I know a lot of people are like, oh, Lament's going to suck from watching the trailer, and then it turned out to be the crazy strong meta weapon, and then it's been nerfed a few times even. So yeah, I hope these are all good. I hope none of them miss the mark like Cryosthesia initially did, and Salvation's Grip. I hope these are all compelling weapons to use. And exotic armors. And that's gonna do it for me, I think. Let me full screen so you don't see my 1,000 tabs. Thanks for watching. Probably this went on a bit long, but I just like to ramble about this game. When my friends aren't on, I gotta do it with someone. So I'll do it with you guys. That's about it. Have a good one. See you next time.